Let's log into the FinaGuardAI console using the correct credentials. Here we have the dashboard. At the top, we can see yesterday's total authentication transaction count, authentication success count, and authentication failure count. Then, we have the suspected IPs bubble chart, which displays the IPs with the most authentication failures and their transaction volumes. The size of the bubble is proportional to the volume of transactions. Then, we have the high failure rate users bubble chart, which displays the users with the most authentication failures and their transaction volumes. Then, we have the daily web authentication chart, which displays the daily total authentication count, daily total authentication success count, and daily total authentication failure count for the current week. Similarly, we have the daily SDK authentication chart. On the y-axis, it represents transaction volume, and on the x-axis, it represents the last 7 days. Then, we have the monthly web authentication chart, which displays the monthly total authentication count, monthly total authentication success count, and monthly total authentication failure count. Similarly, we have the monthly SDK authentication chart. On the y-axis, it represents transaction volume, and on the x-axis, it represents months. Now we have the transaction logs, where we can see a list of all authentication transactions made. We can also filter the list using the available search filters, including the IP address from which the authentication was performed. We can also view the transaction image submitted by the user. We can also download the list in a CSV format. Now we have the user list, where we can see all the registered users. We can filter the user list based on user ID. Here, we can also view the profile image of each user in the list. We can also download the list in a CSV format.